What's up everyone, it's DV, and today I'm actually going to give you a price guide update for the latest furniture update that we just got. So one thing that I hate to have to say all the time, but I get a lot of complaints about price guides and stuff because some of you actually do really get this, but it just takes me reminding over and over and over because prices fluctuate so fast in this game because it is a trading game. A lot of people trade in this game. It's part of the fun of it. And so prices are so important, but because everything's based on crafting materials, things change so fast. And update after update also changes everything too, so you can't really rely on a single price guide. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to kind of go after your gut instincts. My guide is simply that. It's a guide. It's not a book of truth. It's not written in stone. Things do change, so I want to make sure you know that. One thing I also want to be very clear about is that prices after updates are always going to be way higher than they're actually going to be worth long term. So the best update example I can give you is imagine the new Nintendo Switch, whether you like Nintendo Switch or not, but imagine the next Nintendo Switch comes out. It's Nintendo Switch 2 and they have 100,000 copies that arrive at a local store. Go to the store, they're bought out, and then you go to the next store and they're bought out, and you go to the next store and they're bought out, and at some point you're just tired of looking for this item, right? You're just like, gosh, I really want this. But imagine you're kind of throwing your hands up and you're just desperate, right? You really want this item, and someone's outside and says, hey man, I noticed, I saw you had a couple stores, I bought a bunch of these so that I could actually sell them on eBay, and I'm gonna sell them for, twice as much as what they're actually worth. Do you want one? And you're gonna be like, dude, yeah, I'll take it. Well, how much is it? It's $1,000. Okay, I'll take it. So that's how pricing works with these updates. In this video, I'm actually going to show you how I price everything, so it's very clear, what you should be able to price these items at. But you should always price things based on what they're going for, not what I say. So like, for example, if I were to say like these items, here, I actually bought these from Frank, so these are not my prices. These are Frank's prices. You'll notice I don't really do pricing for flowers or colors anymore because they do change so much. It's impossible for me to keep track of them. But these prices, for example, if I were to go and publish my island, and if these didn't sell out, what would I do? I would actually reduce the price of them, right? But if these sold out really quick and I had more to refill, I would increase the price of them because they sell out way too fast for me. That's how you're supposed to price stuff. That's how you're supposed to do it. If your island sells out constantly of an item, guess what? Raise the price. That's just how it works. That's not what DV came up with. That is how the market works. And you actually come and you come over to your machine and there's still stuff in there, then you've actually went way too high. In that case, you go and keep reducing. You kind of fine tune your pricing until you find the sweet spot. Really think about the guides as a guide, exactly that, a guide. It is not a book of truth. And I know a lot of people will come to your island and say, well, DV's price guide has it at XYZ, whatever it is. The DV prices it at 5 million or DV prices it, and I think that's pretty cool, but don't hate on someone or say that their prices are wrong, especially if they're selling them out. A lot of people are just, like I said, they're willing to go and spend that price. So for example, I'm seeing people selling like berry seeds for 60,000 coins. 60,000 coins. Absolutely mind-boggling to see people selling berry seeds for 60,000 coins. But if they can sell them at 60,000 coins and people are willing to spend 60,000 coins for a berry bush, all the more power to them. I mean, I would never do that. Don't rag on them for, pricing things how they want to price them. But before I begin, if you don't mind, hit that like button and smash the subscribe button if you're new. And let's go and get into these furniture prices because I'm really excited. But check this out. I love these little lamps. They're really cool. All right, let's go down to my underground marketplace down here. So pretty much what I'm going to do is you can see these items. These are all the new items. So pretty much this is the same order of the furniture. Okay, so let's go and I'm going to explain why and how I price my stuff. But just because, like I said, right now you could probably make about double, triple, quadruple this price right now because of demand. If you can sell out of these too quickly and someone's willing to pay for that, then that's okay. That's just pure. You earned it. You're first to make this stuff. You earned it. Now at some point, like within like hours, it's going to continue to tank. So try different pricing. These are really just guides. So this is the baseline. So you shouldn't be any cheaper than these, in my opinion. The one thing I don't have in here is the Cutlass. I'll talk about the Cutlass at the end, but you're not gonna. This is really about the furniture update, not so much the PvP island, because like I said, I will cover the Cutlass, but it is not a weapon you can go and craft. And the big difference on the price for that one, by the way, compared to these, is Cutlass you can't craft. Cutlass is a limited item, so it's going to be priced way different. So right here, you got the belt, you got firecracker and all this stuff, and you see like the differences in pricing here. They're pretty steep. So you go from here, and then it takes a steep dive. And I was actually really surprised when I was developing the pricing for these. I was actually really surprised about some of these items. Like I thought the water fountain would be worth a lot more than it is. Even the golden toilet, I actually didn't know it would be worth that much. The portrait, I didn't think the portrait would be worth 150,000. So let's start out with the bell. But again, I just want to preface again, everyone, I price things what it should be. And how I price things is, let me show you how I do it. So I go into the workbench, right? And I click on all of these, go through all of these and look at the requirements here. So I assume that you can buy gold or make gold pretty cheaply, but I assume if you're going to buy these, it's going to go between like 10,000, 15,000 a piece. So you can do the math there. 10 times, 15,000, you get 150,000 coins for the cost of making the gold. Say you buy your maple for 1,000 a piece, and then you got to make the planks. So there's some labor in there. And then I assume, pink hibiscus is probably going to be going for about 500,000 a piece. This is the most expensive piece here inside this is the pink hibiscus. And again, we're looking at 3 times 500,000. So this is 1.5 million right there. And then you add labor and profit, we're at 2 million. So that's pretty much how I calculate this stuff. This is at least 1.5 million coins just with the hibiscus alone, because hibiscus, as much as you can go and get that, after a while it's going to run out because everyone's going to be making bells. It is not a common resource, so that's why I price this one up a bit. Firecrackers, on the other hand, look, it really requires 50 coal. So if you think about it, you can go and make this really quickly, but if I was going to go to your island and say I wanted to do like a ton of them, say I wanted to buy out 200 of your firecrackers, then you got to go out and make them, right? And so you're going to have to go farm coal, you're going to have to do some labor for that. That's how I price stuff. So even though this is probably only worth like 5,000 tops, you do have labor to make these, and then it is taking up your coal that you could actually be making coal blocks with. So if you think about it, that's 5,000 coins right there, plus labor, plus the freshness of the item. So that's actually a pretty good price for that. The mini fishing pond do require pine planks, so it's about 40,000 right now. This one's going to probably drop a little bit more inside my price guide fairly soon. And then you got the gong. The gong's actually pretty cool. This is like one of the most valuable items in here. And the reason is if you look at the gong's requirements, so compared to the bell. So look at the gold jumps and the pink hibiscus jumps, and then the planks jump. So it's basically the same materials, but it requires a lot more. So it's basically a bigger bell, right? So you got at least 200,000, maybe 250,000 coins worth of gold. You got some maple planks. I'm not really going to do the math on that. If we're going to assume pink hibiscus is about 500,000, this is about 2.5 million. Plus you add in all this stuff, we're looking at about 3.5 million coins for that. It will go down over time, but gold is a weird one. Gold is still just a precious resource. As much as we farm it and as much as we get of it, it's used so much. And then you got hanging lanterns. So the hanging lanterns, 60,000 coins. And it's mainly because you do need a bunch of wood to be able to make that, and coal. This is probably going to be really about worth 20,000 along with this one at some point soon, but 60,000 is pretty good spot for that. You got the red lantern. The red lantern does require some red flowers, so that's why it is priced up a little higher. So red clay and red glass have always been popular in the game, so we're looking at about 20,000 per flower there. And then so that's about 200,000 coins, and then you got to add the iron and stuff. So padding it a little bit just based on demand, we're at about 350,000. You can get like so much bamboo in seconds, so we're not going to even count that. But making maple planks is a big pain in the butt, so we're looking at 5,000 coins for that. And then the bonsai does require pink again, so this is why this one's a little higher. It does require 1 pink flower, so we're looking at 500,000 just for that pink flower. And then the rest of the materials are pretty cheap to make, so another 100,000 maybe for the wood. So 600,000 is pretty good for that. The ship in the bottle is really cheap to make, so we got the planks and then just glass. So pretty much 10 planks, so it does not require that much wood, and it has a little bit of glass, which you can just go out and buy from the merchants in the hub. So we're looking at 20,000 for that guy. The well itself, the well is actually super cheap. It does require 25 birch planks. We could probably bump this up because birch is such an uncommon one, but I like it at 10,000 because it's pretty simple to make. All I got to do is just farm a bunch of birch trees and then make planks, and then I've got it. So modern bench is iron and birch planks again. So this is a little easier to make than the well, but it does actually require the iron, but they're pretty much priced head on right there. We have the modern bottom cabinet, requires birch wood, just 10 pieces. So I'm assuming 1,000 a piece for that. So that's about 10,000. So I just doubled it for profits because no point in making it if you're not making a profit. And then 10 birch wood, same thing, same price. And then the fridge is actually pretty cheap to make. You just need 20 iron and 5 coal. So we have that priced at 5,000. And then we also have the modern oven is actually, I think it's the same. So the oven requires just 2 more glass blocks. So it's basically the same material, but you just need to add a little bit of glass. And then the toilet only requires 30 iron. So we have that priced at 5,000. If you assume the iron is 100 each, then we're at 3,000 there. And then the golden toilet is an interesting one because gold is a weird price. It fluctuates so much. I'm assuming this is about 10,000 per gold. So, give or take. So we're looking at 300,000 for this guy. I actually priced it at 350,000. You might see it going for even 500,000 or $1 million. That's okay for now until it kind of settles, but everyone wants the golden toilet right now. Let me tell you how this is actually a big one that everyone wants. So you're going to be seeing a lot of gold toilets around. This is going to be hilarious. Someone's probably going to make a toilet wall, I'm sure. So wooden bench does require 30 wood. I have this priced high because wood is going for so much right now. No one likes farming wood. So this is probably worth only about 30,000 if you were to buy the wood from someone, but then you got to add the labor labor and the fact that you're using wood for this. So 50,000 is a pretty fair and good price for that. And then coming over here, the water fountain. This one was surprising how cheap this is to make. So it only requires 30 stone and 4 coal. So, you know, it's only worth 10,000. And it's just surprising that that is such a cheap one. I probably would have used like blue blocks and some other stuff with this, like blue flowers and some others just to get the color in here. There's also plants on the actual fountain itself. So I was just really surprised. Like if you look at, there's like plants there. So I probably would have used green hibiscus as a part of the formula or something, because it looks like there's hibiscus on it, but I would have added a little bit more to this thing. But I feel like this one was a little too cheap. So it's only worth about 10,000 coins. The bunk bed was surprising. So check out the bunk bed's requirements here. So the bunk bed requires purple hibiscus and a light green daisy. So the light green daisies and the light green flowers, any kind of light greens, are not that hard to make, but it does require you to either go trade for it or to make it. So you have to breed flowers or go and acquire one to get these, because they don't really spawn in your island that much. And then the purple is obviously pretty valuable because everyone's trying to buy up the purples. Even though they were duped heavily, people still want to buy those out. So, you know, and then you got the pine planks in here. So it is just an expensive item. So let's assume that this hibiscus is worth a million. Then you've got pretty much 500,000 coins for profits. So 1.5 million for bunk bed. So, and then the spherical light and the circular light, they're pretty cheap to make. I'm going to show you those real quick, but you just need iron and coal for those. Pretty cheap to make. So those are only worth 5,000 piece. Chandelier is actually cheaper to make than these guys. It's just a little less here. So I'll show you what that requires. So you can see it's 20 and 16 instead of 30 and 20. So it's a lot cheaper to make if you think about it. But the thing is when you're on a baseline of 5,000 coins, people are going to look at these three as equals regardless of the requirement. So that is something to think about your pricing too, is what is the perceived value of something? Just because the item actually does not cost that much to make, you might actually have enough perceived value that it's worth more, you know? And so that's why some of these actually have a little bit more value in them. So like the hanging lantern is actually pretty cheap to make, and that's why that one's a little bumped higher. And then same for the red lantern. You know, you have to have the perceived value. So even though the chandelier is cheaper to make than the ceiling lights, you know, it is probably the coolest looking one if you think about it. Because I mean, if you look at these aren't as cool in my opinion than that. It just looks so cool. Look at, I mean, how many castles can you imagine? People are going to be filling their houses up with this. So the demand's, I think, going to be higher for the chandelier. So that's why they're priced equally. And then the red hydrant actually requires red. So of course it's going to be a little bit more pricey. So it does require 2 red flowers, and then it does require 25 iron. So assume 2,500 for that. And then I would say about 20 to 25,000 for those. So again, you know, fire hydrant's going to be a little pricier to make because it does require so much red. The fluorescent lights are actually really cheap to make. I was surprised by that. I really like these. These are some of my favorite lights here. So this one requires 20 iron and 40 coal. So 10,000 coins for that. Wall lamp's even cheaper to make. So this is probably going to be a staple for most people because it's so cheap. So you see, compared to the fluorescent light, it's only 10 coal and 20 iron. And then we got the wooden lamp here. This one requires 30 planks and 10 coal. And then pebbles are super cheap to make right here. So you can see I priced pebbles at 500 coins. And if you look at it, it only requires some stone. So you can make those really cheaply. And then the blue flower plant does require a cyan daisy, which is a big pain to find. So because it's not just any kind of cyan flower, it has to be the daisy. So that's a little harder to find. And then you got the birch planks. So we have that priced at 500,000 because you can buy those daisies for about, I think 200 to 300,000 coins is what I typically see them at. So a lot of people like to buy these because they're trying to make water looking blocks. So next we got the hedge plant and the leaves plant, which costs the same. So it just requires a sapling, and then it requires some oak planks. So those are going for 10,000 coins each. And then you have the mushroom plant. So the mushroom plant, I think they just updated this. I don't know about, I feel like they just updated this to actually require mushrooms too. So it requires some maple planks, and it requires a red mushroom. I don't know how they got it white, but that's pretty cool. So mushrooms go for about 3,000 coins typically, and you use these also for potions. So they're kind of in demand. And then you got the maple planks, which are a bit of a pain to make. So we're at 15,000 coins for the mushroom plant. And then we have the portrait, which requires blue, red, and yellow. But the fact that you can actually use fertiles does help a ton. That's why it's pretty cheap still, you know, because you could just go and use your fertiles instead of just like sitting on your fertile blue lilies, you know, or, you know, then you can also use fertiles across the board. That's where this, you know, price does go down a little bit. So that's about 150,000 coins because you're using so many flowers, especially the blue flowers. A lot of people want those. And then the street lamp and the double street lamp are pretty much priced the same because they do require the same thing. One cool little thing I want to show you real quick, completely unrelated to pricing. I thought this was pretty cool. If you actually stack these next to each other, it looks really neat. You can make like a fake fence. It looks really cool. I like that. Totally, you can make like a really cool gothic looking fence, like a graveyard or something with this stuff. So these lamps go for 5,000 coins each. Pretty straightforward there. And then the last one here is the walkway, and that only requires 1 oak plank, which is super easy to make, so you can make a ton of them. So I'm pricing that at 1,500 coins. So that is pretty much the overview here. Now I want to actually show you the Cutlass again real quick, and let's talk about that. All right, so the Cutlass is available only from the PvP island, and so let's go over there. So this thing does cost 100 skulls. I'm almost there, so I just need one more round of quests, and I'll be able to finish this one today. So let's see, it's available in 2 hours, so I'll have it in a couple hours to be able to actually put in my machine. I should have actually waited to make this video for a couple more hours, but tomorrow I will have a video on how you could grind these skulls super fast. By the way, I have a really good technique that I think you're going to enjoy, and I have some crazy tips for you on how to complete these really fast. I think it's one of the fastest ways of getting skulls that I've ever seen, because I've been playing this a lot and I found a lot of tricks in this PvP arena I'm going to show you. And but anyway, so yeah, this Cutlass is going to be worth, I think it's going to be worth about 500 million coins initially, and then of course, you know, because it's only like 2 to 3 days at a time, it's going to continue to drop, and eventually it's going to settle probably around 20 million coins. Ultimately, we're hoping that the game team did fix the dupes. From what I've heard, they did fix those dupes, so I think prices are going to continue to settle over time. I'll have a review on this Cutlass probably by tomorrow as well. So what I'll probably do is I'll give you a video tomorrow with a review of the Cutlass, along with how to grind skulls super fast. There's a couple tricks in here I can't wait to show you. So that video will be coming out tomorrow for you, so I will show you how to get your own Cutlass. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy my price guide videos, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to turn on notifications so you can get notified whenever I post the video on how to get a ton of skulls and any future videos that I post, so you don't miss them on your feeds. And I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.